Welcome to the Introduction to Mentoring training video through the Community Foundation Leadership Academy. In addition to this training video, you will have access to a PDF resource that will provide you with the key information needed to begin your mentoring journey through the program. We have developed our Leadership Academy to support the continued development of our workforce of student leaders. Leaders will benefit from our structured rewards package in return for their outreach in the local community of Tower Hamlets and neighbouring boroughs. The three main pathways through the Leadership Academy are coaching, officiating, and mentoring. Students are welcome to focus on one or engage in a combination of these pathways. This presentation focuses on the mentoring element of the Leadership Academy, but there are separate resources for the coaching and officiating pathways. The role of a mentor is to use knowledge and experience to provide support, guidance, and advice to a mentee. As a mentor, you'll be a trusted counselor or guide. In most cases, you'll be older, more experienced, or more knowledgeable in a given field than the mentee. It's common that you will help with goal setting, skill development, resource provision, career pathways, or personal life advice. The principles of great mentoring. One of the most important skills to have as a mentor is the ability to listen. Only then will you be able to understand how you can truly support the needs of a mentee. The aim is to support and inspire the mentee to realize and act on their own ability and potential, rather than doing the work for them. Remember that this is a two-way process and it will involve shared learning in both directions. In order for this to be a success, respect needs to be established between both parties. It is crucial that you avoid going beyond your level of experience and expertise. To help identify the key to great mentoring, we have developed the acronym LISTEN. Listen and understand. In order to help a mentee, you must first listen and understand what they want to gain from the mentorship and the reasons why. Inspire and motivate. To help individuals unlock full potential and to achieve their personal best, motivating mentees to seek out their own solutions. Support and guide. Support mentees with the combined provision of knowledge and resources. It's important to provide guidance without doing the work for the individual. Two-way process. Successful mentoring will involve shared learning in both directions between the mentor and mentee, a platform for both parties to develop skills and knowledge. Establish respect. Building rapport and communicating effectively will largely depend on the respect between the mentor and mentee. Trust is crucial between both parties. And never exceed the bounds of your role. Don't be afraid to seek advice or refer the mentee onto further support in order to avoid working beyond your level of experience or expertise. We have broken mentoring down into three main areas: preparation, delivery, and conclusion. The process of mentoring can take many forms. The most common will be through face-to-face meetings. Even if the mentoring is taking place digitally, it helps to be prepared with talking points and key questions. Any preparation will largely be influenced by the needs of the mentee. Without preparation, you risk the possibility of silent periods. Large periods of silence waste valuable time that could be spent supporting the mentee. These talking points should not be followed in the same way as a session plan, but instead referred to when necessary. We do encourage you to plan out your talking points and key questions, as this will help to ensure that your session can flow without large periods of silence. If your mentoring role is integrated into sport session delivery that involves breakout groups of mentees, then you should prepare talking points to prompt discussion amongst the group. Ensure that you have the equipment that meets the needs of the mentee. Do you need a pen and paper or electronic device to record any notes or produce any action plans? Were you required to bring any resources along to the session? It would be better to have a pen and paper but not need to use it than to need it and not have it. Don't use any electronic devices to record conversation unless agreed with the mentee and your organisation. If you need to borrow any equipment from QMSU Sport, then this must be requested in advance and will depend on availability. You must ensure that you are dressed appropriately to deliver the session and engage with mentoring. Delivering a mentoring session whilst wearing inappropriate clothing can be counterproductive. If you're not dressed appropriately, you may give off the impression that you do not want to be at the session and you have somewhere else more important to be. You must be dressed appropriately at each session. You are encouraged to wear Community Foundation clothing, club sport teamwear, or clothing provided to you by the club or organisation. Delivery. Ensure that the setting of any face-to-face mentoring meets the needs of the mentee. Consider if the setting is suitable for conversation that may include personal information. Is the setting comfortable? Are you likely to be interrupted? For face-to-face mentoring, try to avoid noisy settings where it may be difficult to engage in conversation. It can be easy to assume that the mentee is as comfortable in any given situation as you are, but this is not always the case. Don't be afraid to assess their satisfaction with the setting or welcome alternative suggestions. In most cases, your mentoring will be integrated into support session delivery. We encourage you to deliver this in small breakout groups to avoid any one-on-one engagement with under 18s. Any one-on-one engagement or e-mentoring must first be discussed and agreed with the Community Foundation team to ensure that all safeguarding procedures are in place. The format of a mentoring session can vary significantly. Although there is no set format for mentoring, there are some key points to remember. Mentors are encouraged to follow the LISTEN framework. Ensure that the mentee is provided with a platform to speak their views and to ask you questions. Ask the mentee questions to prompt discussion, but give them the flexibility to steer the direction of conversation. Keep the mentee motivated by agreeing on goals to work towards. Show interest and engage with active listening, e.g. eye contact, nodding, and affirming sounds and words. Speaking too much as a mentor can be detrimental to the mentoring process. The most important skill is the ability to listen and understand what the mentee has to say. Your job is not to do the work for the mentee, but to support and guide them to find the right solution for themselves. Don't assume that the mentee will be motivated to develop and progress without the use of goal setting. Don't preoccupy yourself with note-taking or finding resources during a session. It's far more important that you give your full attention to the mentee. You must always give your full attention and remain vigilant to ensure the safety of the mentees as well as their enjoyment. You must report any safeguarding concerns to the safeguarding advisor, in this case the Community Foundation coordinator. You should not at any point be using mobile phones, tablets or other devices during the session except in case of emergency or if agreed with the Community Foundation team. At no point should you be left alone with any individual participants, especially those under the age of 18. Any communication with a mentee or mentees should not exceed the bounds of your role as a mentor. As there is no set format for the mentoring process, the duration of meetings can also vary. It's important to ensure that the planned talking points are addressed where possible. Proposed timing should be agreed by both parties beforehand. Don't be afraid to review and adjust the duration of any mentoring sessions if you feel that the time isn't being used appropriately. Conclusion. Do you need to make any notes to summarize actions from the session? Is there anything required from the mentee before the next session? Where will the next session be? Ensure that the mentee has all that they need to be dismissed or collected from your session. Don't conclude the session without providing any important information regarding the next session. Don't leave until the mentee has been dismissed appropriately. Inform the participants and relevant staff members if for any reason you will not be able to attend any upcoming sessions. Getting qualified. In return for 30 voluntary hours, we will fund your mentoring qualification or other qualification up to the value of £200. In return for logging an additional 30 hours, we will contribute £400 towards your next qualification. Please note that we cannot fund both qualifications during the same academic year, but hours do roll over across academic years. If you wish to gain your qualification before logging 30 hours, as you feel that this will enhance your delivery, then you can pay for the course and be reimbursed by the Community Foundation once the hours have been logged. Please note that this must first be agreed with the Community Foundation team prior to making payment, and proof of purchase including invoices and receipts must be provided. You're not required to have a qualification to be a mentor, as it is your experience and personal qualities that are of importance. That being said, there are both sport-specific and general mentoring courses available. We will be flexible to fund other qualifications in return for your outreach if we feel that you meet the requirements of a relevant course. Before facilitating sport in a local community, you will now be required to complete an assessment which can be accessed through the Community Foundation web pages. The assessment will test your knowledge of some of the key learning points from this training video. It is recommended that you download and read the Introduction to Leadership Mentoring resource, as this will reinforce your learning. This is a short assessment and has a series of multiple choice questions. You must score at least 75% to pass the assessment. The Community Foundation team will be in touch with confirmation of your score and any feedback or next steps. If you haven't heard back from the Community Foundation team within 1 week of completing the assessment, then please email us at communitysport@qmul.ac.uk. So what are the next steps? Before you can start delivering in the community, we will need you to complete an enhanced DBS check. This is a background check to show that you're safe to undertake a role working with young children or vulnerable adults. You will need to complete a check with us even if you previously completed a DBS check outside of the Students' Union or you needed to complete one for your course. You'll receive a DBS certificate in the post once this has been completed. For any Students' Union activity that involves working with children or vulnerable adults, you're required to read and sign the QMSU Safeguarding Agreement. Specifically for engagement with the Community Foundation, you'll also need to read and sign our Service Level Agreement. This outlines the roles and responsibilities of all parties. Both agreements can be signed electronically. Following these steps, you will officially be classed as a leader on our programme. We will now be able to support you with opportunities to engage with our local partners, including schools, sport clubs and community organisations. Thank you for taking the time to view our Introduction to Mentoring training video. Remember that you must now complete the short assessment. If you have any questions or require any further support, please don't hesitate to get in touch. We very much look forward to watching you develop as a mentor on our programme.